Hey guys, how we doing? Back on another video from Too Spooky. 101 facts about the 7 deadly sins. I thought this would mix it up a bit. I like that. I seem to be doing like Dragon Ball and Naruto related stuff just constantly in the moment. So I feel like these 101 facts about other things, plotted in between, be pretty good. I've seen the first 2 seasons of 7 Deadly Sins. I haven't seen the movie. I didn't watch the OVAs in between because I was like, I don't want filler stuff, I just want story. So, if it goes on about stuff like that, then I don't know. But I've seen the first 2 seasons. Let's see what he's got to say about the show.
How's it going, everybody?
Hello.
Too Spooky here, and in today's video we are going to be counting down 101 facts about the 7 deadly sins.
Cool.
This video was suggested by quite a few of you guys over the course of the past 2 years.
Whoa.
So I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for the suggestion, because this video right here is going out to all of you. Before we get started, I would just like to mention that this video will be containing many spoilers for both the anime and manga.
Okay.
So please proceed with caution.
So there might be
I
manga
should also
spoilers here
mention
for me,
that
but
I'm
never
not going
mind.
to be doing this video by myself. In fact, this video marks the first official collaboration on my channel. Joining me today is my good friend Briggs from All Day Anime.
Cool.
Hello, it's Briggs here, and I am so honored to be the first ever collaboration on this channel.
He has made quite a few 7 Deadly Sins videos over on his channel, with many more to come. So I figured who could possibly be better to help me out with this one. Anyways, sorry about the wait.
Let's jump right into the video.
Cool.
Number 1. The 7 Deadly Sins is a manga and anime series that was created by Nakaba Suzuki. It started its serialization in Shonen Jump on October 10th of 2012 and is still currently ongoing. As of recording this video, there are currently 29 volumes consisting of 251 chapters.
Okay.
Number 2. The series originally began as a one-shot chapter that was released in Shonen Jump on November 22nd of 2011. There were of course some differences from the one-shot and the actual first chapter. Some of these differences would be that Hawk and Hawk's mama were not present. Instead, Meliodas' bar was a gigantic mechanical spider, kinda like the movie The Wild Wild West.
It's not half bad, actually.
And
That's
when it
pretty
came to
cool.
Elizabeth and Meliodas, it was almost like their roles were completely reversed. Elizabeth was much more perverted and energetic, while Meliodas was not perverted and wasn't very brave until halfway through the chapter.
Number 3.
Oh, it's very different.
We know for a fact that Meliodas is an awful cook, but in the one-shot, his cooking was apparently delicious, because that's what Elizabeth said about the food when she rolled in. Either that, or Elizabeth was just too hungry to care.
Number 4. Suzuki's art style has been compared to that of Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball,
yeah.
and Suzuki himself has openly admitted that Toriyama's art style was a big inspiration for him, and because of that inspiration, he now really enjoys drawing huge muscles, which is present on quite a few of his characters.
The face shape
Number
and the
5.
eyes is very similar,
To
isn't
further
it?
that
Yeah.
inspiration, the first manga that Suzuki ever purchased was a volume of Dr. Slump, which was also created by Akira Toriyama. And when Suzuki was in elementary and junior high, he was a big fan of Dragon Ball, Kinnikuman, and Fist of the North Star.
There we go. That's amazing.
Number 6. Before the 7 Deadly Sins, Suzuki's other works were Rising Impact, Ultra Red, Boko Tukimi no Aida ni, Blizzard Axel, and Konga Bancho. His very first professional work was called Revenge, which he released in 1994. Revenge was also an honorable mention for Shueisha's Hot Step Award.
Number 7. When asked what other professions the creator of the series considered before becoming a mangaka, he stated that ever since he was in kindergarten, his sole purpose in life was to become a mangaka. As you can see, he made true to his purpose.
Number 8. Suzuki named the majority of the characters after people or places from Arthurian legend,
Yeah, makes sense.
which was a collection of stories centering around King Arthur. Any characters whose names are not from Arthurian legend had their names selected by Suzuki himself.
Number 9. Suzuki plans to have a total of 3 different story arcs, the first of which was completed back in chapter 100. Regarding how long it would be until the series was completed, Suzuki also said that he expected the series to be 20 to 30 volumes before it was over. Considering we're currently on volume 29, I think it's safe to assume there will be a little over 30 volumes before it's actually over. Either way, it looks like the 7 Deadly Sins will be ending sooner than we think.
Number 10. The Seven Deadly Sins has currently sold over 20 million volumes as of 2017. And
That is
now
a
that
lot.
it's 2018, that number is probably even higher.
Number
Probably.
11. The Seven Deadly Sins takes place in Britannia. In the real world, Great Britain used to be known as Britannia
Britannia,
before
yeah.
the 1st century, and is still sometimes referred to it to this very day. In the Seven Deadly Sins, Britannia is mapped after the real world Scotland or modern-day England.
Oh, that's cool. I never
Number
noticed that.
12. And in addition to that last fact, the world the Seven Deadly Sins live in is the same as Earth geographically in terms of continents and oceans.
Number 13. Our main characters are, of course, the Seven Deadly Sins. Meliodas, the dragon's sin of wrath. Ban, the fox's sin of greed. Deanne, the serpent's sin of envy. Gother, the goat's sin of
Excuse me.
lust. Merlin, the boar's sin of gluttony. King, the grizzly's sin of sloth. And Escanor, the
Escanor.
lion's sin of pride. Something you might not have noticed was that every member of the Seven Deadly Sins is from a different race. Meliodas is a demon, Ban is an immortal, Deanne is a giant, Gother is a doll, King is a fairy, Escanor is a human, and as we recently found out, Merlin is a hybrid between the Demon King and the Supreme Goddess,
Oh, did
making
not know
her a
that.
hybrid or Nephilim.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
if you want to include Elizabeth and Hawk in there, they actually count as well, because Elizabeth is a goddess and Hawk is a pig.
Number 14. Other races present in the series, aside from what we just listed, are
Okay.
druids, beastmen, and vampires.
The vampire army has taken the city!
We must check the castle tower and make sure that no vampire have gotten into our home base.
You wait here! I'll go check the castle!
Yes, you do that.
Oh my god! I just saw a f***ing vampire! It bit me right in the neck!
If you just look at it as part of foreplay, it's actually not that bad at all.
Number 15. Each of the sins have a marking or tattoo on their bodies representing their respective sins. These markings were actually created by one of Merlin's magic spells, rather than the sins going to a tattoo parlor. As a small side note, in the original one-shot, it was said that the sins engraved their markings into their own bodies.
Number 16. The animals and colors associated with the Seven Deadly Sins symbols are different than the symbols from the actual Seven Deadly Sins in our world. The actual animals for each sin are as follows. Bears, sin of wrath. Frogs,
Oh, wow.
sin of greed. Goats, sin of sloth. Dogs, sin of envy. Cows, sin of lust. Pigs, sin of gluttony. And horses, sin of pride.
Number 17.
That's interesting.
A lot of the characters in the series have their personalities based off of people that Suzuki knows in real life. The reason he does this is so that when he's trying to figure out how a character would react to something,
be able to,
he
so you just
simply
think of
thinks
that
of
person,
what
yeah.
the real life counterpart would do or how they would
That makes
act
sense.
in the same situation.
Number 18. Magic is a very common ability throughout the Seven Deadly Sins world. An individual's magic abilities isn't decided by themselves, although they have the potential to learn new abilities later on. Their initial abilities are decided through the individual's talents, personality, and nature.
Number 19. The Seven Deadly Sins each have a sacred treasure,
Yep.
which is a very powerful weapon that brings out their full potential, and really only works for their respective wielder. These weapons are estimated to be worth around 100,000 gold coins, but when Meliodas sold his, he only got 1,000 gold coins,
Of course
so
he
he
did.
got a little bit ripped off. But luckily, as we know, he got it back later.
Number 20. The Seven Deadly Sins also have 7 laws or rules that each member must abide by. However, currently
Yeah.
we only know 4 of the 7 laws. Law number 3 is a sin shall ask no questions of another member's sin.
Oh.
Law number 4 is if a friend is in crisis, everybody needs to use all of his or her power to help. Law number 5 is when 2 sins are in a disagreement, they can resolve it with a
Right,
fight.
that makes sense.
And law number 6 is if 2 sins are fighting to the death, the other 5 must do their utmost to stop them, even if it means eliminating the perpetrator. Laws number 1, 2, and 7 are still unknown.
Number 21. The anime for the Seven Deadly Sins began October 5th of 2014, consisting of 24 episodes and 2 OVAs. A second season was later announced, but it turned out to be a 4-episode side story that doesn't follow the manga, which upset quite a few fans who were very eager for season 2. This 4-episode special was written by Suzuki though, so it's not all bad. On top of that,
I didn't watch
this
it.
month, the actual second season of the series began airing. The Revival of the Ten Commandments.
It's good.
It's unknown when Season 2 will end, but 24
Oh,
episodes
right, okay, so
are
this
to
is
be
like- this was
expected.
done before
and
Season 2
because
came out,
Season
okay.
2 just started, it's unlikely that Season 3 will be announced for quite some time.
Number 22. Hawk was originally not intended to have any magical abilities. When Suzuki was originally asked what Hawk's
It's a
abilities
talking
would
pig.
be if he
How
had
could
them,
he not?
he stated that Hawk would have the ability to eat 10 times as many leftovers as he currently does, and make leftovers float. Later on, Hawk did of course end up getting the magical ability called Transport, where he gains the properties of whatever it was that he ate.
Yeah.
Number 23. Before the Sins were betrayed and framed for killing Zeratrus, they were all considered Diamond Rank Holy Knights, which is the highest rank. The ranks for Holy Knights from highest to lowest is Diamond, Platinum, Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, and Crystal. So
Right,
it's
that's
good
cool.
to know the Holy Knights are ranked after different Pokemon games.
Number 24. Each fairy is born with a
That is
scent that
interesting.
resembles a specific herb or flower. For instance, Elaine smells like lavender, King smells like a gold osmanthus, Halbram smells like a white rose, Jarheed smells like mint, and Gloxinia smells like ginger.
Number 25. The reason Merlin wears such revealing clothing is because she hates wearing clothes that restricts her movements. And what could be better for that than wearing practically nothing,
Nothing,
right?
yeah.
On top of that, some of her clothes seem like they could fall right off with how they sit on her body. And the reason that they don't fall off is because Merlin
Magic.
is using magic to keep them on her body at all times.
Of course.
Number 26. There is currently only one video game based on the series. It's
Yeah?
for the Nintendo 3DS, and it's called The Seven
Oh.
Deadly Sins Unjust Sin. However, later this year, in March, there's going to be a second game released, this time for the PS4, and it's called The Seven Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia. This will also mark the first video game featuring Escanor.
Number
Cool.
27. When it comes to the popularity poll, I was a bit surprised with the outcome. To show you what I mean, I'll go over the top 5. In 5th place, we have Meliodas,
Oh.
with 6,664 votes.
That's weird.
In 4th place, we have Hendrickson, with 8,227 votes. In 3rd place, we have Gother,
This
with
is so strange.
12,068 votes. In 2nd place, we have
Right, I understand Ban being
with
high up.
32,086 votes. And then in 1st place, we have King. And the interesting thing about him being
Huh.
in 1st is that he received 121,945 votes, which is almost 4 times as many votes as Ban in 2nd
That's
place.
crazy.
So people really, and I mean really, like King.
Yeah.
Number
That
28.
is so strange.
One of the main reasons Meliodas decided to open up the Boar Hat was due to his vast collection of different alcoholic beverages that he collected while traveling.
Number 20. Even
I've got
though
the booze,
he
why
is
not
a
sell it?
doll, Gother has really awful eyesight, and without his glasses, his eyesight is only 20/200, which means that in our world, Gother would be legally blind without his glasses.
Number 30. The Ten Commandments are not specifically limited to demons, although most of them are demons. To become a member of the Ten Commandments, you need to be approved by the Demon King himself, which is why Gloxinia and Droller are members of the Ten Commandments, even though they are a fairy and a giant rather than a demon.
Number 31.
Makes sense.
Not much is known about the Kingdom of Camelot, but the one thing we do know is that before the battle with Hendrickson, he mentioned that Camelot is a rising power that will soon be on par with the
Right, so
Kingdom
it's
of Leones.
upcoming.
Number 32.
Arthur and
Oslo's favorite
Merlin.
food is pork, and this is the sole reason that King didn't introduce him earlier to the Boar Hat, because he probably wouldn't have been able to help himself to a
Try
nice
and
taste
eat,
of
yeah.
Hawk or Hawk's mama.
Number 33. In Side Story 1, it was revealed that Bond carries around a collection of ale labels.
Number 34. And I know you guys are just dying to find out which female character has the biggest boobs. The answer may surprise you. Carl, can I get a drum roll, please?
You got it, Briggs.
Deanne.
Of course,
This was
she's a giant.
probably obvious to a lot of you because Deanne is a giant,
There you go.
so everything is naturally much larger than any other character. The
Yeah.
only one who comes close is Matrona, but Deanne has her beat by just a bit.
Number 35. Dreyfus and his son Giramor have opposite abilities. Dreyfus has the ability Break, while Giramor has the ability Wall. Break allows Dreyfus to do many different things from shooting energy beams to strengthening the power of his sword. Either way, this energy is used to destroy. Whereas Giramor has the ability to create nearly indestructible barriers, which is something that cannot be easily broken.
Right.
Number
That's cool.
36. Zivago, who is considered Bond's father, was actually mentioned back in the first side story, quite a ways
Oh.
away from his first actual appearance in chapter 139.
Number 37. When we first met Deanne, she had 2 different gloves on, but after throwing Gilthunder, the second glove got destroyed. Deanne would then only wear one glove for the rest of the series, and she still has yet to get another.
Number 38.
That's kind of cool that we're
Hawk
consistent
can
with that,
actually run faster than any other member of the 7 Deadly Sins, but only if he spots leftovers at a distance.
That's class.
Number 39. Fairies are incapable of getting sick or contracting any illnesses, and they also require a lot less sleep than humans, but they still do need to sleep nonetheless.
Number 40.
When it comes to goddesses, they can get sick, but it's very rare to see any goddess with an illness because of their amazing healing abilities, which can cure any illness for both themselves and others.
Number 41. The storage room at the Boar Hat contains different items from the Sins' past adventures. For instance, the armor that Elizabeth wore in the first chapter can be seen in there.
Number
that's cool.
42. When you look at Deanne's Warhammer Gideon and Escanor's Divine Axe Rita, which would you guess is heavier? If you guessed Gideon, you're wrong. Apparently Divine Axe Rita is many times heavier according to Suzuki, further showing
That's
Escanor's
cool.
immense strength. And if you recall, when Galland picked it up, he said it was extremely heavy and the weight distribution made it very hard to wield.
Number 43. The type of demon found by Hendrickson was known as a Grey Demon. These demons were one of the higher-ranking demons, and Grey Road of the Ten Commandments is actually the alpha of the Grey Demons
Oh,
in
that
a
makes sense.
being a mutated version of a Grey Demon that is vastly superior to the rest.
Number 44. King was very embarrassed about not having wings, and his sister Elaine didn't have any either. This was supposedly because they were both late bloomers, and this was proved later on when King finally sprouted some wings, even if they are quite puny.
That's cute.
Number 45.
It's a
We have yet to see Gila's eyes. In fact, I'm convinced that she just doesn't have any.
Number 46. Since Bond is immortal, he technically doesn't even need to eat to survive. This was revealed when we found out that Bond had been in prison for over 5 years without moving, eating, or even seeing the light of day. Even though he doesn't need to eat, he still loves food as demonstrated by his amazing cooking skills. And when it comes to his favorite food, he literally likes everything except for Meliodas' cooking.
Number 47. Elione was the main antagonist of the original one-shot, and he was also the only Holy Knight featured in it. When it comes to his actual manga counterpart, he's just a regular knight who doesn't put up much of a fight.
That's brilliant. So he was the main
Out of the
antagonist.
7 Deadly Sins, the oldest members are Meliodas, Merlin, and Gowther. Meliodas and Merlin are both over 3,000 years old, but their exact
don't
age
look
is
it.
unknown, so we don't know for sure which one of them is older. But we can assume that Meliodas is older because Merlin was only 12 or 13, while Meliodas was fighting in the Holy War 3,000 years ago as the former captain of the Ten Commandments, while Merlin was just a child. Gowther's age is unknown, but we do know that Gowther is a doll, and this doll was also present in the Holy War from 3,000 years ago as one of the Ten Commandments. So depending on when this doll was created, Gowther could be even older than Meliodas or younger than Merlin.
Number 49. In addition to that last fact, most demons have a lifespan of about 1,000 years, yet Meliodas is a demon that's over 3,000 years old. The reason for this is due to his curse, which prevents him from dying.
Number 50. Elizabeth is actually only 16 years old. At least that's the age of the current Elizabeth. Like we just stated, Meliodas is over 3,000 years old. So if we really want to read into this, Meliodas is a pedo.
Number 51. So like we said, Merlin is also over 3,000 years old.
Yes.
Yet she still looks very young like Meliodas. The reason Merlin doesn't look very old is because she stopped her aging at the age of 30. And when we saw her in her true form, she looks a lot younger than that.
Number 52. The youngest of the Sins is Escanor, who is 40 years old. Some people confuse Bond to be the youngest Sin due to his immortality keeping him forever young at the appearance of 23.
You can understand why people would think that.
Age is actually 43, which makes him older than Escanor.
Number 53. Slater has a scar on his face, which is rarely seen because he's almost always wearing a mask. This scar was given to him after he protected the king from an assassin.
Number 54. During Gilthunder's first appearance, he is seen wielding a sword that looks relatively normal, aside from a curved tip. But later, he has a different sword that is jagged like a lightning bolt, which fits well with his powers. The reason as to why he switched was never mentioned.
Number 55. Bond's special ability is
Snatch.
Snatch, which allows him to steal both abilities or objects from other individuals or creatures without even having to touch them. The funny thing about this is that Bond actually had his sacred treasure stolen from him.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
Number 56. In addition to that last fact, Bond is currently the only Sin who
my
hasn't
God.
recovered his sacred treasure.
Number 57. Hendrickson has never dated a woman. Not even once.
Oh,
Number
poor man.
58. Derriere's name is based off of the word derriere, which is French for ass. This makes perfect sense if you look at her odd way of talking, where she usually says something along the lines of, "My ass says."
Number 59.
Strange.
Gowther is a boy, even though he can be easily confused for a girl. Wait, hold up. Do dolls even have a sex or gender
Oh God,
for that
here we
matter?
go.
Well, according to the Seven Deadly Sins, I guess so. Huh. That doesn't really make much sense, but, whatever. Go ahead and continue. As we know, Gowther was created by Gowther of the Ten Commandments, and when Gowther was creating the doll Gowther, he gave it the face of his lover, but the body of a boy so that he wasn't sexually interested in his own creation.
Okay, that's
so
weird.
that's why Gowther looks very feminine.
Number 60.
Both Bond and Meliodas had previously arm wrestled a total of 720 times throughout their friendship, which resulted in one of them winning 361 times. However, they both think they were the one with the greater amount of wins. In more recent chapters, when the two of them meet up again, Bond states that in the last 10 years, their tally is an even 5-5. Bond then completely destroys Meliodas, making that a tally of 6-5. So I think we can assume that Bond is the arm wrestling champion between the two.
Number 61. There's actually a goddess trapped inside Solacede's guitar. We know this because it was shown in a chapter extra when Meliodas was explaining that there could be a goddess trapped inside certain items.
Oh,
Number 62. The majority of the Druids are born with silver or white hair, but they can still be born with other hair colors. Silver and white hair are generally considered a sign that someone is a Druid or a descendant of a Druid because of this.
Number 63. The Fairy King is chosen by the sacred tree in the Fairy King's forest, rather than by the fairies themselves. Gloxinia was the first Fairy King, and according to Meliodas, King was the third Fairy King.
third one,
The
so there's one in
second Fairy
between.
King has only been mentioned once or twice, and their name was Dolly. So if
excuse me.
King is the third, he is currently the last Fairy King, unless you count Bon, who was Fairy King for a short time,
Well, that's
even
true,
though
yeah.
he isn't a fairy.
Number 64. The only beastmen we met in the series were Zivago and his son Celion. But it was mentioned in the past that Meliodas and Liz went on a mission to hunt a werewolf, which means that as far as beastmen are concerned, there are both werefoxes and werewolves in Britannia.
Number 65. As we know, the current Elizabeth is the 107th reincarnation of the goddess Elizabeth.
Oh, wow,
And due
didn't-
to her
that's cool.
curse, she will die 3 days after she regains her memories, no matter what. According to
that's
Suzuki,
cool.
there have been instances in the past where past Elizabeth reincarnations have not regained their memories, and instead have died of old age or other natural causes. So it is possible for Elizabeth to not regain her memories during her many lives, which is likely why Meliodas was doing his best to keep it a secret.
Number 66. At this point in the story, Elizabeth has a power level of 1925. But when asked about Liz's power level, Suzuki compared it to Twigo, who wasn't super strong. So we can assume that this
How dare you
reincarnation of
insult Twigo.
Elizabeth is a lot stronger than her previous reincarnation.
Number 67. In the data book, we learned that Meliodas' special skill is molesting Elizabeth, and his daily routine consists of sexually harassing
it is a bit
Elizabeth.
much.
Can someone please put this guy on a sexual predator list already?
Hey, you know what they say, man. If her age is off the clock, she's ready for that cock.
Bane! We've talked about this, man. That is not okay.
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say.
Anyway, we also learned in that data book that the thing Meliodas wants to do the most is cuddle with Elizabeth. So I suppose that's much
Yes.
better than borderline rape.
Number 68. Out of the 7 deadly sins, both Merlin and Meliodas are the two that are able to hold their alcohol the best,
Nice.
while Bon and King are the worst.
Number
Bond's
69. When Jericho was a lot younger, she would go around to various older men and ask them to marry her by presenting flowers.
Okay.
The funny thing is, she once did this to Bon without even knowing she'd actually have feelings for him later in life.
Ah,
Number 70. Calmadios was the original commandment of piety, and after his death, that commandment was given to Zeldris.
Right.
But in the initial release of Chapter 201, Calmadios' commandment was betrayal instead, which isn't even one of the 10 Commandments.
Huh.
Number 71. Over the course of the last 3,000
my
years, Meliodas has worked as a demon captain, a mercenary, a hunter, a holy knight, and most recently, a bar owner.
Number 72.
Bit of a
If you were
shift
to
in
roast and eat Hawk entirely,
work
you would
there.
be eating 30,000 calories.
Number 73. Escanor made his first appearance in the Vampires of Edinburgh side story, before he actually appeared in the main storyline.
Oh, well, okay.
Number 74. The Nashi is one of, if not the only human in the series that is not a native of Britannia. Due to his samurai element, it's likely that he would be from the country that is based off of Japan in this universe.
Number 75. The highest power level we've seen so far in the series is 142,000,
And who's that?
which was achieved by Meliodas
Right.
while in his assault form.
That's cool.
Number
Makes
76.
sense. Main
The
character.
lowest power level we've seen so far in the series is a whopping 15, which was achieved
Hawk?
by none other than the mighty Escanor during his knight form.
Oh.
It's funny because even Hawk had a higher power level than that when power levels were first introduced.
That's close.
Number 77.
That's brilliant.
Even though a goddess is technically a referral to a female god, in the Seven Deadly Sins, a goddess can also be male.
Number 78. There are only 3 tables in the Borhat Bar and 19 chairs, all of which are handmade. There's also only 2 types of cups available, which are Stein glasses and wine glasses.
Number 79. After Hawk essentially sacrificed himself to save the others
It was so
against
sad.
Hendrickson, Hawk became the individual that Bond respects the most.
Number 80. Fairies don't understand the concept of wearing underwear, nor does it
yeah?
exist in the fairy world. So essentially, all fairies go commando.
Number 81.
Interesting.
We only met Hauser's parents for a brief moment, but they actually run a blacksmith in Leones.
Number 82. Among the 10 Commandments, Dureri and Galand are Suzuki's favorites to draw.
Number 83.
But then he killed
When
off Galand
Hendrickson
quite
found
quickly.
Helbram's dead body on the black market, he was able to purchase it for 1,000 gold coins.
Number 84. The only way to kill an immortal like Bond is to steal his soul, because the Fountain of Youth only affects his body and not his soul.
Ah,
Number
that's okay.
85.
I mean, that's an
Because
explanation.
he is a doll, Hitler does not need to eat, drink, sleep, or bathe to survive.
Number 86. Kath has a total power level of 10,010, which is split up into 5,000 magic, 10 strength, and 5,000 spirit. This also makes Kath the individual with the highest spirit level that we've seen so far in the series.
Estarossa has
That's
an
close.
overall power level of 60,000,
Estarosa's
which is
amazing.
split up into 3,000 magic, 53,000 strength, and 4,000 spirit. This also makes Estarossa the individual with the highest strength level that we've seen so far throughout the series.
Number 88. Before his death, Zaratras was supposedly the only holy knight who could go one-on-one with a member of the Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh, wow.
Number 89. We've seen that King is able to transform his appearance, but did you know that Elaine can transform too?
Oh,
the
really?
only issue is, according to Suzuki, she has no reason to transform herself
Right.
in that way. So we'll likely never see
Never
this
see it.
transformation
Aw.
in action.
Interesting.
Number 90. King's favorite scent is Diane's cleavage.
Uh.
There's really not too much else to say about this one.
I didn't even know that cleavage had a scent.
Probably because you're a damn towel.
You know what? Shut up, Bane! You don't even have a nose!
I'll show you who has a fucking nose, you snot rag.
Number 91.
Okay.
Dreyfus is ambidextrous, making one of his special skills the ability to use 2 swords at once. But he wasn't always able to do this. Dreyfus himself is actually left-handed, but Fraudrin, on the other hand, no pun intended, is right-handed. And because Fraudrin possessed Dreyfus's body for so long, Dreyfus ended up becoming ambidextrous.
That's cool.
Number 92.
That's such an interesting
Jerseed
little
is the oldest
thing.
character
I
in
like
the series
that.
whose age is known, which is 4,200 years old. It's never explained how she was able to stay alive this long, but it could have something to do with her serving the Fairy Kings.
Number 93. In the data book, we learned that the most embarrassing moment in Merlin's life was the one time she confessed her love to someone else. We never get a clear answer of who that person was. However, in the 10th extra chapter, it was hinted that that person she confessed her love to was Meliodas. But this is only hinted and insinuated, but not confirmed. If this is true, in light of the recent chapter revealing Merlin's race, this would be a very complicated relationship.
Number 94. Escanor could very well be the most powerful character in the 7 Deadly Sins. The highest his power level has been recorded was 114,000, but we all know he's able to go way past that. When the sun is at high noon, Escanor is able to become what he calls the One, which is where he essentially becomes the embodiment of raw invincible power. With this power, he was able to cut down Meliodas like butter, who, like we said earlier, was our current record holder for highest recorded power level. The only individuals I could possibly see being stronger than Escanor would perhaps be the Demon King or Supreme Deity.
Number 95. Something you might have missed is that Dolar is missing an eye, and the nickname that humans gave him long ago is Baylor. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because Merlin gave Hawk a magical item called Baylor's Magical Eye that allows Hawk to read people's power levels. Although there was never a legitimate confirmation, it's implied that the eye hanging from Hawk's ear is the eye that Dolar lost long ago.
Number 96. The average lifespan of a giant is unknown, mainly because the majority of them died in battle long before old age. But they likely can live for thousands of years due to how they age. Suzuki mentioned a while back that in human years, Diane would be younger than Elizabeth, who was only 16. Yet Diane is actually approximately 750 years old. And according to Suzuki, Matrona would be roughly 24 or 25 in human years when she is in fact 820 years old.
Number 97. It was originally said that a single Holy Knight was equivalent to an entire army, but as we later find out, this is exaggerated a little bit. Most of the stronger Holy Knights have a power level of around 2,000 to 2,500. If Hawk, who let me remind you is a pig, has a power level of 30, I'm going to guess the average soldier has at the very, very least 50 power.
Yeah, I was going to say 50 is probably
which would mean that one of the strongest Holy Knights would equal about 50 men, which is a very small army if it can even be considered that.
Number 98. Slater was confirmed by Suzuki to be a gay man.
Fair enough.
Damn it, Too Spooky, what did I say about using this meme? Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry, Briggs. I'll give you a pass. But just this once.
And since that was a pretty short fact, his name was previously unofficially translated as Threader.
Number 99. Technically, the Ten Commandments are each over 3,000 years old, but because they did not age while they were sealed, their ages are represented as their age before they were sealed, which makes Gloxinia the oldest of the Ten Commandments at age 1400, even though he looks the youngest. Grey Road is also the youngest of the Ten Commandments at age 156.
Number 100. Almost all the Sins, and even some of the Holy Knights, have a job at the Boar Hat Bar. Meliodas is of course the owner, Merlin is a waitress, and she also develops new alcoholic drinks and seasonings. Diane is a waitress and the advertiser. Elizabeth is a waitress. Bon is a chef. King is the stock resupplier. Hawk is the captain of leftovers. Hawk's mama transports the bar. And then Hauser, Gilthunder, Hendrickson, and Arthur are random bartenders or general help. Gother's job is still undecided. And Escanor is likely going to be a bartender, but these two are yet to be confirmed.
And the moment that you've all been waiting for,
101.
number 101. In addition to Season 2 coming out this month, it was also announced that a 7 Deadly Sins film is going to be released this year as well, which will be released by A1 Pictures. As of recording this video, we know nothing about what the film will be about, whether it will be an original story or something from the manga, or an exact release date for that matter. But we're getting a double dose of the Sins this year, so I think that's reason enough to get hyped.
Pretty cool.
But there you have it, everybody. 101 facts about the 7
Season 2.
Deadly
I thought it was good.
Sins.
I want
Hopefully you
Season
guys
3.
enjoyed the video, and hopefully you learned something new. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Also, be sure to subscribe and comment down below what anime you guys would like to learn about next. And while you're at it, make sure to comment your favorite member of the 7 Deadly Sins down below and why they're your favorite.
Escanor,
I would also like to give
cool.
a big thanks to Briggs for joining me today. Be sure to check out his channel, All Day Anime.
Spooks, thank you so much for having me. 'Twas fun. And to everyone watching, I hope you guys enjoyed our video. If you want to check me out on YouTube and you want more 7 Deadly Sins related content, I'm your man. I make a bunch of fact videos, theories, explaining concepts, and I even recently started doing reviews on the 2nd season of the anime. And of course, I talk about all the other anime as well.
A link to his channel will be in the description, or you can find it on my recommended channels bar. I recommend you check out his new video about the sins of the 7 deadly sins, or his video about the mythology behind the
He's
series.
got a good discussion
If
on
either of
Goku
those
versus
aren't doing for you,
Saitama as well,
be sure
which
to click
is a
here
good
for
one that I
101
checked
facts
out.
about Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks for watching, and remember, Shinpaku.
Bang, bang, bang.
Class. Some interesting facts there. The one that I really liked was, whatever his name was, is left-handed. But because a demon possessed him, and the demon was right-handed, so thought right-handed, when left, because he was there for so long, made him ambidextrous. I thought that was just like, whoa, details, 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 details. So cool. And yeah, Diane's glove, gone. She never has the glove. Consistent. The show's very consistent in little things like that. I felt like between season 1 and 2 there was some inconsistencies, but I like little details like that, that's cool. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below, watch and discuss it for videos. I'll see you guys. All you guys next time.